When a struggling single mom risks everything to secretly feed a homeless teen, she faces threats of losing her job until the undercover owner witnesses the whole thing. Daniel Cole is the man behind a restaurant chain built not just on good food, but on a promise. A promise of warmth, of community, a place where both customers and staff felt like family. Daniel poured his life into this vision. His restaurants were known for their open doors, their charity work, their reputation for treating people right. It was his pride and joy. But lately, a cold shadow has fallen over that promise. Whispers started, disturbing rumors filtering through the grapevine. Not of bad service, but something far worse. Reports crossed his desk, painting a perfect picture. But Daniel knew better. He heard the whispers of overworked staff, unreasonable demands, a growing climate of fear under certain managers. A stark contradiction to everything his company stood for. His concern turned into a gnawing unease. He needed to see the truth with his own eyes. In one location, right in the heart of the city, kept coming up the source of the most troubling stories. Daniel made a difficult decision, one that would force him to step out of the boardroom and into the shadows, to find out exactly what was happening behind the kitchen doors of that downtown location. To truly see, Daniel had to blend in. The tailored suits and polished demeanor of the CEO were stripped away, replaced by anonymity. A faded baseball cap pulled low, a nondescript hoodie, old jeans. He traded power for camouflage. He walked towards that downtown location, not as the owner, but as a face in the crowd. Pushing open the door, the immediate rush of noise hit him. But beneath the surface buzz of busy diners, he felt it instantly. The restaurant was packed, a seemingly successful service underway. But the atmosphere wasn't the energetic hum he knew his best locations had. It was tight, strained, like a wire stretched too thin. And there she was, Rachel, juggling plates, moving with practiced speed. There was a kindness in her eyes, a warmth in her interactions with customers, but etched around her smile was exhaustion. And something else? Fear? Then Daniel saw him. Mr. Stone, the manager, standing like a statue, observing everything, but with eyes that offered no warmth, only scrutiny. His presence seemed to cast a chill. Staff seemed to visibly stiffen when he was near. Daniel took it all in. The forced smiles, the hurried movements, the heavy silence from the staff unless they were taking an order. This wasn't the family he'd built. This was something else entirely. And his mission had just begun. Blending into the background, Daniel became a silent observer. And the picture that emerged was one of stifled fear. Staff moved with a nervous energy, their natural chatter muted. They spoke only when necessary, keeping their heads down. His eyes kept returning to Rachel. Despite the stress, she maintained a quiet efficiency. But even her expertise wasn't enough to escape the manager's gaze. Daniel watched discreetly as Mr. Stone cornered Rachel by the service station. The exchange was low sharp. He saw Mr. Stone gesturing angrily towards a stack of napkins, his posture rigid. Daniel couldn't hear every word, but the message was clear from Rachel's crestfallen face, a reprimand. For something as trivial as giving a customer an extra napkin. Rachel looked down, nodding quickly, then hurrying away, visibly shaken. This wasn't management, it was intimidation, and it hung heavy in the air, affecting everyone. Other servers, busboys, kitchen staff, they moved like they were walking on eggshells. The easy camaraderie of a healthy team was replaced by wary silence. Daniel continues observing. Then he noticed something else. Between the relentless pace of service, he sees Rachel cast a furtive glance towards the back of the restaurant. A moment later, she slipped quietly towards a rear door, disappearing for just a minute. And out near the alley entrance, barely visible, Daniel caught a glimpse, a young figure. Scruffy, solitary. Who was he? And why was Rachel meeting him? The pieces weren't fitting together. Mistreatment inside, secretive meetings outside. Daniel knew he was close to uncovering something far deeper than just poor management. That quick, secretive exit, Daniel couldn't ignore it. The concern etched on Rachel's face, the glimpse of the figure outside. He had to know. Quietly, unnoticed amidst the dinner rush, he followed her towards the back of the building. Stepping into the cool, quiet alley through a service entrance, Daniel saw it unfold. Rachel, risking everything, pressing a warm bag of food into the hands of the same young teen he'd glimpsed earlier. Rachel, whispering, urgent but kind, said to the boy here, "Eat this. And I can't let you go hungry. Not after what you told me." Daniel watched, a knot forming in his stomach. This wasn't theft. It was quiet, profound compassion happening in the shadows. But the shadows offered no permanent cover. Like a predator, Mr. Stone had clearly noticed Rachel's absence. He stormed out the back door, his voice cutting through the quiet alley. As he advances on Rachel and the teen flinches away. Rachel stands her ground, but her face shows fear. Mr. Stone, in a loud, accusatory voice, barked, "Rachel, what in God's name do you think you're doing?" Rachel, in a trembling voice, tried explaining. "Mr. Stone, Mr. Stone, interrupting venomous, fired back, "Don't just me. I saw you, giving away food, stealing company property to feed him," gesturing dismissively at the teen. Tears started to well up in Rachel's eye. His words were a hammer blow. Accusation, contempt. The threat hung heavy in the air. And then Mr. Stone dealt the final blow. "That's it. Rachel, you're fired. Get out. Now. How dare you steal from this restaurant?" Rachel's world seemed to crumble around her. Losing her job, her lifeline, for an act of basic human kindness. Daniel steps forward from the shadows. He walks deliberately, placing himself physically between Mr. Stone and Rachel. He is still in his disguise, but his posture is different now. Straight, authoritative. He had seen enough. The cold cruelty, the injustice. He couldn't stay hidden any longer. Daniel, in a calm, measured voice, but with underlying steel, asked, "Hold on. What exactly is going on here?" Mr. Stone turns, startled by the unexpected intervention. He looks annoyed, seeing just a random customer in a hoodie interfering. Irritated, he responded, "Who the hell are you? Stay out of this. This is an internal staff disciplinary matter." Mr. Stone had no idea who he was talking to. The breaking point had arrived, and Daniel was about to show him exactly who was in charge. Mr. Stone, in rage of being challenged, saw only a customer interfering. His arrogance wouldn't allow him to see anything more. "I asked you, who do you think you are?" His voice echoes in the narrow alley. "This doesn't concern you. Get lost before I call security." A slow, powerful smile begins to form on Daniel's disguised face, not of amusement, but of cold certainty. His hand goes to the brim of his baseball cap. Daniel didn't raise his voice. The calmness in his demeanor, the steady look in his eyes, it was a different kind of power. He reached up, deliberately. The worn cap came off, exposing the face of the man who built this empire. His hair, previously hidden, becomes visible. The disguise begins to fall away. Mr. Stone's expression starts to shift from anger to confusion. But Daniel wasn't done yet. He reaches into his jacket pocket and produces a small, unassuming card, a corporate ID badge with Daniel Cole, owner, clearly visible. The impact of what was printed on it was anything but unassuming. This wasn't just a random customer. Mr. Stone's face cycles through shock, disbelief, and horror as he registers the ID, while Daniel maintains an unwavering gaze. You know, that's impossible," Mr. Stone stammers. Daniel lowers the hand, holding the ID slightly, but keeps it visible. He looks directly at Mr. Stone, his voice now carrying the full weight of his authority, yet still measured. "It's not impossible, Mr. Stone. I'm Daniel Cole, the owner of this restaurant, of this entire chain." The air hung thick with shock. The tables had turned. The predator was now the cornered prey. Daniel steps slightly closer to Mr. Stone, his eyes pinning the manager in place. His voice holds a quiet fury, a profound disappointment. "And in the last 10 minutes, Mr. Stone, right here in this alley, you just showed me exactly what kind of leader you are." Mr. Stone is visibly crumbling. Rachel looks towards Daniel with awe and gratitude. The homeless teen watches wide-eyed. The moment of truth had landed. The mask was off. and the man in charge had seen everything. Mr. Stone is reeling, pale-faced, his previous bluster gone. Daniel stands firm in front of him, Rachel behind Daniel, watching with cautious hope. The homeless teen is still nearby, observing silently. The confession hung in the air. "I'm Daniel Cole." The three words that stripped Mr. Stone of all power. Facing the man he'd just shown his worst to, the cruel manager scrambled, desperately trying to regain control, trying to find a shield. Mr. Stone, voice shaky, attempting defiance, but, "Mr. Cole, she was stealing, giving away food. That's against policy. Inventory loss. I was just enforcing the rules." He tried to hide behind the rule book, tried to paint basic human kindness as a corporate crime. But Daniel wasn't buying it. Daniel takes a slow step closer to Mr. Stone. His voice remains calm, but it's laced with an undeniable authority and disappointment. "Daniel," voice low, cutting through Mr. Stone's excuses rules. "Inventory loss. You saw a hungry kid, Mr. Stone, and you chose to threaten the person trying to help him. Let me make something clear." Daniel gestures towards Rachel with deliberate emphasis. "Generics, human decency, compassion. That isn't against company policy. What is against policy, Mr. Stone, is creating a hostile environment, intimidating staff, and showing a complete lack of empathy. Your actions tonight are unacceptable." Mr. Stone looks like he's been hit. He starts to protest again, but Daniel speaks over him. "Effective immediately, you are suspended pending a full investigation. Leave the premises now. We will be in touch." Mr. Stone stands frozen for a moment, then seems to deflate completely. He avoids eye contact and slowly, defeatedly, turns and heads back towards the restaurant door. Daniel watches him go, his expression stern. The reign of fear was over. Just like that, accountability arrived swiftly, publicly, undeniably. Then, Daniel turns his full attention to Rachel. His expression softens dramatically. He offers a warm, genuine smile. The fear was still in her eyes, but hope was starting to break through. "Daniel," in a gentle, reassuring tone, "Rachel, you're not fired. Not even close." Rachel visibly sighs with relief, tears welling up again, but this time from emotion. Daniel continued, "What I saw you do tonight, Rachel, that was exactly the kind of person I envisioned working in my restaurants. You showed courage. You showed compassion. You lived the values this company was built on." Daniel extends a hand and places a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for being exactly who you are." Rachel looks up at Daniel, overwhelmed with relief and gratitude. The homeless teen is still watching, with a flicker of surprise or understanding on his face. In the cold alley, a moment of profound injustice was reversed. The hero of the story was safe. The villain had fallen. But this was just the beginning of changing things for good. After the chaos subsided and the restaurant doors were locked for the night, Daniel sought out Rachel. The adrenaline of the confrontation had faded, replaced by raw emotion and the quiet hum of the building. Rachel looks tired, but the fear is lifting, replaced by exhaustion and cautious trust. Daniel is looking at her with warmth and respect. He wanted to understand, not just the act of kindness he'd witnessed, but the heart behind it. Sitting alone with Rachel in the quiet space, the conversation began, not as owner and employee, but as two people. Daniel, gentle, leaning forward slightly. "Rachel, thank you again for what you did. It took incredible bravery. I wanted to understand what drove you to take that risk." Rachel hesitates, looking down at her hands, then slowly looks up at Daniel. Her voice is quiet, raw. She takes a deep breath, the weight she carried settling back on her shoulders, but this time she felt safe enough to share. "Mr. Cole, I have kids. I know what it's like to struggle, to worry about where the next meal is coming from. That boy in the alley, he was hungry, truly, desperately hungry. He reminded me." Her voice trails off, she visibly swallows. "He reminded me of how vulnerable, how alone kids can be. I just couldn't turn away." Daniel listens intently, his expression softening, his eyes showing deep empathy and understanding. He nods slowly. Rachel didn't just confess. She laid bare the heart of the matter. Her own struggle, her own vulnerability as a single mother, fueling her fierce compassion for another in need. Daniel listened, deeply moved by her truth. He responds, Rachel, thank you for telling me. What you did, that wasn't against policy. That was because of who you are. And that's what truly matters. As they spoke, other staff members, who might have been finishing cleaning or closing tasks, slowly start congregating nearby, drawn by the conversation, or perhaps just lingering now that Mr. Stone isn't there. They look hesitant, but also hopeful. The fear that had kept them silent for so long began to dissipate. One server steps forward tentatively. Mr. Cole? It wasn't just Rachel. Mr. Stone was like that with all of us. Always yelling, making us feel small. Another staff member joins in, emboldened. Yeah, he'd time our breaks, scream at us for tiny things. Said we were lazy. It made coming to work awful. A kitchen staff member speaks up from the doorway. We try to tell him, Mr. Cole, about being short-staffed, about how stressed we were. He just said to work harder. Called us crybabies. Daniel turns his attention fully to the gathering staff. He listens patiently, his expression serious, validating their experiences with his presence and nods. One by one, the stories spilled out. Accounts of disrespect, unreasonable demands, constant criticism. The toxic environment Mr. Stone had cultivated was laid bare. Daniel listened to every word. He saw the toll it had taken, the exhaustion, the fear, the stifled spirit. This wasn't just about one manager. It was about a culture of intimidation that had taken root under his own roof. This heart-to-heart became the spark, the fuel for real change. The conversation in the quiet restaurant that night was just the beginning. Witnessing the heart of his staff and the damage done by fear, Daniel Cole knew change wasn't just necessary. It had to be profound. He didn't just replace a manager. He redefined leadership within the company. A new manager, chosen for her empathy and support, stepped in. Policies were rewritten. Leftover food, once destined for the bin, now brought warmth to local shelters. For Rachel, the woman who risked everything for kindness, the change was deeply personal. Recognized for her integrity and compassion, she was promoted to lead server, her dedication rewarded with a raise that brought much-needed stability not just to her life, but to her family's. And the hungry teen in the alley? His struggle shed light on a wider need. Daniel's company formed a partnership with a local youth shelter, creating a bridge of support where previously there was only isolation. The fear that had gripped the restaurant dissolved, replaced by a renewed sense of belonging, of being valued. This wasn't just a business anymore. It was a community again, transformed, not from the top-down rules, but from the brave heart of a single mom and the owner who chose to listen. Sometimes, the greatest tests of character happen when no one thinks you're watching. A simple act of kindness, done in the shadows, brought a toxic truth into the light. One act of kindness can change a life, but also proved that real leadership isn't about enforcing rigid rules. It's about protecting the hearts of those brave enough to protect others.